Salt Lake County, and I'm here to give you just a brief tutorial on the many different types of elastic bands that are out there on the market, and I'm probably not even covering all of them, but here's at least a good introduction to them. First of all, the advantage to the band is they're relatively inexpensive, and as you can see, they're really small. So no matter what kind you get, they're easy to travel with. For those of you who tell me you don't have a lot of extra space for workout equipment, this is a really nice option for you because it just doesn't take up a lot of room. A really versatile piece of equipment. I have to be completely honest, I actually have a lot of bands. I don't use them all that often. I use them to help me stretch. And there are certain things that I might use them for periodically, but they're not my go-to. That doesn't mean that they're not a great piece of equipment. So the information that I give you is going to be limited on my experience. There's a lot of good videos on YouTube. The main thing is when you look at a video on YouTube is to look at what the person's asking you to do. If you don't want to get on the ground, then obviously don't get on the ground for an exercise that even though it might look good. There's really creative things out there with the bands. Some of them I think are a little dangerous because the band is elastic. It can come back and hit you in the face and actually do some damage. So you just want to be thoughtful about your band use. So I'm going to go over these different types of bands. Here are what are called TheraBands, and that's the brand name of them. I'm by no means endorsing this brand specifically. They're just one of the first ones that had them out, and they look like, you know, just a piece of elastic kind of thing. There's no handles to them. You have to hold them, so you have to have good grip strength to be able to do this. You can tie them in knots, different things like that. Pretty versatile and fairly inexpensive. Generally, the coloring of bands are yellow is easiest, green is harder, red is harder than that, and then you get into black and purple, and that gets even harder. Not all companies go by that same coloring scheme, but good idea. I mean, it's out there for sure. Then you have bands that look like big rubber bands. Right, so they're completely enclosed, you know, like a rubber band. It's not open-ended like those other ones. And these are ones that you can always, you know, put around your ankles and do different exercises. You can put them around your hands and do different exercises. Again, pretty versatile, inexpensive, as good as these, probably the same, just your preference. You can see the coloring of these is red is easiest, blue is next, and black is harder. So blue and black and red are usually on the harder end, yellow and green usually on the lighter end. The third type of band that we have actually have handles on them. There's a lot of different brands that have these. You still need to have grip strength for these, and I like the handles. They're just fine. The tube is also good as opposed to the open band. Again, personal preference. This band actually came with an attachment on it. You can see that. And what this is something that you would like put into a doorway, close the door, and then you could have it up high and do different exercises from up high. You can sometimes like hook this under maybe the leg of your couch, assuming that your couch is heavy, or something that's heavy, and you could do something on the floor. I haven't used this a lot, but it is a good idea. Again, you know how good ideas are. Sometimes they're not great in application, but I do think this is a good idea, and if used thoughtfully, can be very beneficial and helpful for the versatility of the band. The last type of band is like these. It looks more like a rubber band, but it's much, much bigger. These are much bigger and much thicker. I use these for stretching a lot. I have shoulder issues, and so this really helps me stretch. You could use them for stretching your legs. The color scheme here is red, black, green. Red is the easiest. Black is medium. Purple, I said green, I meant purple. Purple is the hardest. You can tell by the thickness of these which one is harder to do, or the one that gives you more resistance. These types of bands you can also loop around, step into them, use them on your thighs. You can grab it here and do back exercises like this. You can hook it around your neck and stand on it and do hip and back extensions. I mean, these are pretty versatile because they're much bigger than these guys. But again, there's no right answer. These are definitely more expensive because they're a little bit heavier. Don't be afraid to invest in exercise equipment. Obviously, the best exercise equipment you can get is the one that you will use. If you're not going to use it, then it's a horrible piece of equipment. But if you're going to use it, then it's a really good piece of equipment. And the bands, because they are relatively inexpensive and take up a little bit of space, they are worth looking into. Hopefully this has been helpful to you, and you will join me in my banded exercise series that I'll be presenting in November.